Hey everyone, it's Michelle from Nature's Magic here. I've just finished renewing our Tiger's Eye and Tiger Iron collections, so I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to talk a little more about these stones and what they actually are, and some of the different ways that you might want to work with them. I'm also going to be creating more of these gemstone videos as I work through our collection renewals, and so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or to our Facebook page or our TikTok channel if you would like to learn more about the crystals and gemstones that we stock. So Tiger's Eye has actually been a bit of a nostalgia for me because it was one of the first crystals that I actually remember being attracted to when I was a kid. And for years, I actually thought when I was a kid that Tiger's Eye was actually petrified wood because it kind of does have that like wood grain look to it, right? But you know what? It's actually not. It's actually quartz. So Tiger's Eye is actually a type of chatoyant quartz. So chatoyancy is that beautiful flash across the stone, and it sits around 7 on the Mohs hardness scale. So Tiger's Eye is actually quite durable as a gemstone and works beautifully in jewelry as well as carvings, and also for polished crystals. So that beautiful silky band of light, like I mentioned, is called chatoyancy, and it comes from its fibrous internal structure interacting with the light. So Tiger's Eye is found in several parts of the world, including South Africa being particularly well known, as well as Western Australia. So depending on the mineral processes and the color within the stone, there are actually different varieties and different colors. So there's gold, there's blue, there's red, and energetically, they all share the underlying connection of grounding, strength, and stability, but each one has its own different emphasis and slightly different unique energetic signature. So I'm going to share a little bit about each of those with you, and I like to look at each of these gemstones through the chakra system to make those connections between their color and their energy. Starting with probably the most recognizable variety is Golden Tiger's Eye. So Golden Tiger's Eye is primarily associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is our center of our personal power. It's also connected with our sense of self-confidence, with will, with self-worth, and also our ability to take action. So energetically, I would associate Tiger's Eye with confidence, optimism, and self-trust, but also for protection and grounded action. This is the one that I would reach for if I was doubting myself, or maybe needing to reconnect with my own feelings of inner strength. Maybe you're making an important decision, or maybe you know what you want to do, but you're just questioning yourself. Or perhaps you're even stepping into something new and you need that reminder that you actually can trust your own inner judgment. And because Tiger's Eye is such a grounding stone, there is a steadiness to that confidence. It's not just about pushing forward, it's about feeling grounded enough within yourself and right within your center that you trust that your next step is the right one and you trust that you can take that next step. Next, we have Blue Tiger's Eye, sometimes called Hawk's Eye. Mineralogically, Blue Tiger's Eye represents an earlier or less altered stage of the material before the iron-rich fibers have undergone the changes that create those characteristic golden brown colors. So energetically, I associate Blue Tiger's Eye more with the throat and the third eye chakras. So now we're moving into the realms of clarity, insight, intuition, communication, and perspective. So I really like Blue Tiger's Eye when you want to see something more clearly without becoming completely caught up in your thoughts. It can be a beautiful stone to work with when you're trying to understand a situation, listen to your intuition, communicate something honestly, or find a calmer perspective. And you still have that grounding quality running through the Tiger's Eye family. So rather than intuition that feels completely up in the ether, Blue Tiger's Eye feels much more like a grounded insight to me. Blue Tiger's Eye is also a beautiful one to help calm the nervous system and can be a really great one to reach for when you are feeling like you need to bring your energy into that parasympathetic, calm state. Next, we move down into the body with Red Tiger's Eye. red tiger's eye is particularly associated with the base and sacral chakras, which is around the base of your spine and around your womb. So its energetic associations are much more connected to our physical vitality, also to motivation, to courage, to physical energy and taking action. The sacral chakra also connects to creativity, pleasure, sexuality, and also our life force energy. So red tiger's eye can be a beautiful stone to work with intentionally when you're exploring your relationship with desire or sexual energy, particularly when you're wanting to bring that energy back towards balance. And sexuality is only one expression of sacral energy. So we've also got that beautiful creative life force that makes us want to do things, to create things, to feel that desire or to experience pleasure in life and to want to engage with life, for life to feel full of juice and aliveness. So this is probably the variety that I would reach for when I'm feeling a bit stagnant or lacking momentum or just needing that bit of life to come back into what I'm doing. So maybe when you've thought about something enough and you know what you need to do, but maybe now you need to really put the juice behind it, red tiger's eye is the one that I would be reaching for that. So next we have tiger iron. So tiger iron is actually different, not simply because it's another variety of tiger's eye. It's actually a naturally banded combination which contains tiger's eye alongside iron-rich material, which is that silvery grey metallic, which is hematite, and also the red jasper or jasper-like material. We stock tiger iron that looks like this, which I believe is the Western Australia variety, but we also stock tiger iron that looks like this. So this is from Africa. And sometimes the African variety is known as muggle stone. Visually, you can see why tiger iron is so distinctive. You've got the beautiful bands, that sphere when it catches the light even sparkles with like metallic little silvery sparkles, which is really cool. And you can see that video on the listing for that piece. In tiger iron, you can also see those golden chatoyant areas of material running through. You can see the flash through that. At the same time as that silvery grey. And it is just such a beautiful combination. So energetically, I really think of tiger iron as a stone of resilience and endurance and sustained strength. So rather than the initial spark of motivation that you might get from like a red tiger eye, this is something that I might want to work with like when I really need to stay the course. So maybe you're working towards a long-term goal. Maybe you're rebuilding something in your life, or perhaps you're going through a prolonged period of difficulty or illness or something that it's ongoing. Tiger iron can symbolically remind you to stay grounded and to keep taking things one step at a time. So obviously the crystal isn't going to treat the illness or change the situation for you. Only you can do that. Crystals can support you to do the work, but they do not do the work for you. So just remember that it can become an intentional anchor. So something that you hold or that you see that reminds you of the strength or the steadiness that you're choosing to cultivate while you're moving through an experience. Now, the big question, which tiger's eye do I choose? So really, I think there's a simple way of looking at this whole tiger's eye family. So if you need to see clearly, choose blue tiger's eye for clarity, intuition, perspective, and communication. If you want to trust yourself and have confidence, golden tiger's eye for confidence, self-worth, courage, and personal power. And then we have red tiger's eye. So red tiger's eye is about taking action. It's about vitality, motivation, desire, and embodied life force energy. Tiger iron we have in jewelry, a couple of pieces to stay the course, for grounding, for endurance, resilience, and sustained strength. We even have a couple of varieties which combine the blue and the gold naturally together. And I think that's a really beautiful combination for combining that calm mind and grounded action at the same time. So you certainly don't even need to choose a crystal purely from its traditional properties. In fact, I would actually suggest that you don't. Actually noticing what you're drawn to and look at the colors. Hold them if you have an opportunity to do that. Pay attention to your own body response, because sometimes the stone that you keep coming back to tells you something in yourself. And sometimes it's also about understanding, where am I at in myself? What is it that I'm experiencing? So for example, if I am feeling unclear in my mind, I would go for blue tiger's eye. Or if my mind is very busy, blue tiger's eye. If I'm feeling self-doubt, if I'm feeling a lack of confidence, gold tiger's eye. If I'm feeling low in energy, I would go for red tiger's eye. If I'm feeling like I just can't keep going because this situation is really tough and draining me, tiger iron. So that's an example of how I would go about what gemstone do I work with today, is understanding first, what am I experiencing, and orienting myself to that first. Because unless we know, and can have that connection and relationship with ourselves to know that this is where I'm at, how do we know what we need? So understanding, where am I? Then I can know what I need, and then I know, where am I being attracted, and maybe in that attraction process of what crystal you're being drawn to, that might give you an answer of what is energetically going to bring you into that alignment. I've just finished renewing the Tiger Eye and the Tiger Iron collections at Nature's Magic. I'm going to put the links to those collections in the description below. So you might notice that we actually have a fairly small but intentionally curated collection across gemstone bracelets. These are all ones that we currently stock in different sizes. These are all just the larger sizes. We also have sterling silver jewelry, we have tumble stones, we have crystal carvings, and some really beautiful one-of-a-kind pieces. So I'd really love to hear about, what is your own experience with tiger's eye or tiger iron? Was tiger's eye one of the first crystals that you were attracted to or drawn to, maybe as a kid or as an adult? Or do you even remember what the first crystal was that you were drawn to? I'd love to know more in the comments below. And I'd also be curious, if you want to share, what are you feeling more connected with out of gold, blue, or red tiger's eye or tiger iron? Feel free to pop it below in the comments, and I would love to hear about your experience. And do make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to be creating more of these little gemstone videos as I work through the Nature's Magic collections. And we've also got our next video of sunstone in iolite coming, as well as petersite, and plenty more after that. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.